Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Hello all, and what is going on? And we are back once again here. This is the Club of the Man 1993, back here for some not so major baseball news. Just a couple little transactions from like the last month that, again, there was probably more again, but really nothing that crazy, honestly. There's just like 7 brief little things that I'm going to just quickly address as far as, well, most of these actually were releases. Not too many signings. A lot of these guys got the can, unfortunately. But we'll talk about them really quick here. First, at the end of our last baseball transactions video, Eddie got brought up also in the last video as well, when I talked about Bo Bichette and Matt Chapman being injured for the Blue Jays. Paul DeJong, former Cardinal, who was traded to the Blue Jays at the trade deadline, was then designated for assignment and released by the Blue Jays once Bo Bichette came back, because he was hitting like 0.68 in like 20 games or something like that. Not producing well at all. Well, on August 22nd, he then signed a new deal with the San Francisco Giants. And he's gotten some playing time since. And he's hit probably about 200, which is better than what he was hitting before. But the Giants seem to be sticking with him as they are contending, of course, for a playoff spot, it seems like. So maybe it'll help. Who knows? But Paul DeJong is now a Giant. People who don't have a team right now, first off, former Pirate Josh Harrison, who had just, not too long before, signed a minor league deal with the Texas Rangers. He then played just 6 games, and he hit just 222, and he opted out of his deal with the Rangers. Harrison, of course, who started the year with the Phillies, who did not have a great year, was released, and now he again was signed by the Rangers. But then, of course, the Rangers have a crowded roster in general, as of course Harrison can both play infield and outfield, as you saw with his days with the Pirates. Unfortunately, he just didn't really have any room on the team. I thought so. He's 36 years old, so if he's not getting another minor league deal, he could be done, unfortunately, which again is a bummer. I did love Jay Hay, but it could be time for him to hang it up possibly, but we will see. This one actually may not be too bad. I didn't get to read his numbers so far with them, but the Dodgers also grabbed former Gold Glover Tucker Barnhart, who was released by the Cubs after signing a 2-year deal this past offseason. And then he signed a minor league deal with the Dodgers a week later on August 30th. The Dodgers are looking for a backup catcher, as they do, of course, have one of the best catchers with Will Smith. Austin Barnes has been their backup, but Barnes has struggled this year. So, hoping that Barnhart will return to his old form between 2015 and 2021. Hoping he would return back to that form. Unfortunately, though, with the Cubs, it wasn't the case this year. And the Cubs did release after he hit just 202. And, again, he just wasn't producing well. But the Dodgers grabbed him, hoping that he would produce. Let me look up his stats. Let me see here. What do we have here for Mr. Tucker Barnhart? Which never heard of that last name, but ever since that happened, I now have a coworker with the last name of Barnhart. that I work with. Let me see here. Tucker Barnhart. Has he even played? I don't see any numbers for him. I guess maybe he has not. Or no. Let's go back to the Cubs. See what we got for the Cubbies. Barnhart. Tucker Barnhart. He has not. So I guess maybe he is just sticking in the minor leagues for now. Maybe he's not going to really, help out with the Dodgers. Oh well. This one was kind of a surprise. I heard nothing about this one. But Trey Mancini, who was released by the Cubs around the trade deadline, he actually had signed a minor league deal with the Reds towards the end of August. And then he played 5 games in AAA Louisville, hit 2 home runs, and hit a 316 batting average in 19 plate appearances. Unfortunately, the Reds released him though. It's very speculative because he obviously was producing at AAA, but maybe because the Reds really didn't have any room on their roster, on the main roster, for the playoffs. So they might release him as a courtesy because they didn't really have anything for him and could see other opportunities. But it looks like that Mancini's done for the rest of the year and will be testing free agency again this offseason. Which, of course, is a shame. Mancini's only 31 years old. He had a great comeback year after he beat colon cancer, as I talked about probably many times. I don't think he's not done. He is not done for good. But I think he will be seeking... He'll kind of be maybe like the Cody Bellinger, who was seeking like a short-term deal to try to bounce back and then probably try to go for like a longer-term deal this coming off season, which Cody will be doing because Cody Bellinger has had a good year. I think he's like 315. He's missed a little bit of time with an injury, but he still hit 25 homers, so he's producing again. Trey Mancini can do the same thing. I believe in him. But yeah, he briefly was in the Reds organization and he was released. I think the biggest release, though, that happened this past month was the man known as Thor. Noah Syndergaard, who had been acquired by the Guardians at the trade deadline. He unfortunately was designated for assignment, and then he was released. It's not been a good year for Thor. Of course, he has had his injuries that have really caught up to him, as I've mentioned many times. There's really wasn't much for him to do. As his numbers, let me see here. He had pitched a 7.16 ERA with the Dodgers earlier this year. Then they traded him to the Guardians, but then in 6 starts, he pitched a 5.40 ERA. So, obviously, they had no need to keep him, especially also since the Indians have fallen way out of the race as well as they have. Guardians, still not used to calling them that. After couple years now they've been the Guardians now? 2-3 years now? Can't remember. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me. They didn't need him anymore. Free agent. Maybe we'll get another shot. He's only 31 as well. We'll see. So that was Thor. Next, though, is a positive one, seemingly. Josh Donaldson, a few weeks ago, was released by the New York Yankees. He was limited because of injuries this season. But Donaldson, who's 37 years old, was batting just 142 with the Yankees. And the Yankees, of course, as I said too, I feel need to start grabbing some new names because they have a bunch of older, washed-up veterans. And unfortunately, Josh Donaldson's one of them. But on August 31st, Donaldson did sign a minor league deal with the Brewers. They did select his contract recently. And he's done all right. I think he's played 4 games, batting 364 with the homers. So, I mean, he could produce a little as the Brewers looking to try to seal their spot at the top of the National League Central. As I know the Cubs, and let me see the standings here. They're 3 games up, I think, looks like on the Cubs. In the National League Central, and of course the Reds are 2 games behind the Cubs as well. So there is some hope that this could help them. I don't think the Brewers are going to get far in the playoffs, but this could help them, of course, get the division title. Good pickup by them. And then finally, we had A.J. Pollock, who the Giants released him back on September 5th. Pollock, of course, who's 35 years old, had been acquired from the Mariners. I think he only had a handful of games, but he went hitless and got injured. He was on a rehab assignment, and he went 1 for 6 during that, and the Giants decided to part ways. I thought I read a rumor a few days ago that he did sign a minor league deal with the Dodgers, but that is not showing up on the MLB trade rumors site. So, as far as I know, A.J. Pollock is a free agent. Don't know if he's got any opportunities left because, again, he's also been a guy hampered by injuries as well. And he's 35, so if you're getting injured around there a lot, that might be a bad sign, but we will see. And that's all I really got. That's all I got for transactions. Again, nothing really big. Again, probably the biggest one was probably Josh Donaldson going to the Brewers, and all those other ones are released. But, just a few to end the season. Hopefully, of course, we'll be getting some exciting stuff coming for the playoffs as well, too. So, yep. All baseball content's come up once again. Awesome. Leave your guys' thoughts down in the comments section below for these signings and releases. And make sure as always also to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!